Welcome into DRF Sportsbook Daily, DRF Sportsbook's daily betting live stream, breaking down all the football action every single Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Fingers crossed we have some DRF Daily this weekend. Currently in Charlotte, the path of Hurricane Ian coming through. It's interrupting a lot of college football for this weekend. Hopefully we maintain power and we can keep doing it, and hope everyone in Florida is okay as well, as that has barreled through Florida and it's coming up the coast now. But for today, we do have some Thursday night football action. We are going to break down. It's the Dolphins, it's Tua, it's the Bengals, it's Joe Burrow. Can the Bengals get back? There's a lot of interesting angles for tonight's game, and I'm excited to break that down. And we have three awesome player props that I think are going to hit. I'm going to be honest, though. I've been cold as of late. Monday Night Football was not kind to me. Went 1-3, and after it was a bad Sunday as well. We're sitting below 500 on our NFL picks this week, or I guess for the season so far. Our overall record is still positive. It's still above 500, but we were 10 games above 500, and that gap has quickly closed. So maybe we've entered the fade zone. Maybe it's time you fade me. We'll see what happens. But before we get into any of that, as always, we have to do some nice little housekeeping stuff, make sure everything's in order, and that includes following us on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, wherever there's social media, we're there with you as well. DRF Sportsbook. Follow along on social, and you can check out all of our exclusive betting angles, trends, line movements, everything like that at drf.com/sports. If you follow us on social as well, we'll share some of those exclusive betting angles that you can use to make sure that your days are profitable. You can sign up for free at drf.com/sports as well to get access to all of our free game previews. And then if you want to pay a little bit extra, get access to every single major U.S. sport in there as well. And when you sign up, you get access to our awesome newsletter that hits your inbox every Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. You don't want to miss that. Today's newsletter is hitting you at 4 p.m. Eastern. Get ready for a fantastic newsletter written by yours truly. Before we get into anything further, though, we do have a message from our friends over at DRF Cash Grab, where they're giving out free money, big money, for tonight's game and for every single primetime game this season in the NFL.
Introducing the DRF Cash Grab app, the super easy, free-to-play sports predictor game from a name you know and trust. The Daily Racing Form. Use your sports knowledge to predict the winners, and you could score thousands of dollars in cash prizes. Pro football, college football, pro basketball, college basketball, hockey, soccer, boxing, baseball, and more. Compete against others for a spot on the monthly leaderboard. Download the DRF Cash Grab app and play today.
So, with all that out of the way, let's break down today's game. It's Miami Dolphins taking on the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati on Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime Video. Total is set at 47. The Bengals are 4-point favorites after opening as just 2.5-point favorites. So a lot of money, a lot of the public, 61% of the public is on Cincinnati to cover tonight. And I'm not sure if I'm fully on board with that, and there's a few main reasons that I'm going Dolphins +4. You ready for this? Let me see if I can back this up with some reasoning that you all can agree with. The Dolphins are third in the NFL in pass rush win rate at 53%. They blitz a lot, they get to the quarterback a lot, and they put pressure on the quarterback a lot this season. It's a small sample size, but it's still worth noting that on pass rush win rate, they sit at third in the league. Now, Cincinnati, on the other hand, we've heard all about their terrible offensive line dating back to last season. This year, it's much of the same as we've seen through the first three games. Joe Burrow, I think, is the number one sacked quarterback in the NFL. He's getting beat up back there. His offensive line is doing nothing for him. La'el Collins might be out tonight. He's questionable. He was a full go yesterday in practice, but there's still that possibility that he doesn't go. They're 29th in the league in pass block win rate at 50%, which is 29th in the league. They're only winning on pass blocking downs 50% of the time, which isn't good if you're an offense. If you're an offensive lineman, that's a terrible stat. You don't want to be in the bottom third. You don't want to be one of the bottom 4 teams in pass block win rate. And I think that's going to be where this game is won and lost. If the Bengals can step up and give Burrow just a little bit of time. We're not asking for a lot of time, just a little bit of time. I think the Dolphins will have the ability, or the Dolphins won't have the ability to get to the quarterback, force turnovers, and win this game. So if the Bengals can do that, they win. But the Dolphins have proven time and time again that they're capable of winning their pass rush. They're winning the line of scrimmage. They're 3-0 for a reason, straight up and against the spread. And I know we can call some of their wins fluky, the amazing comeback on the road against Baltimore, their win at home against Buffalo. But regardless, they're 3-0 and they're 4-point dogs tonight. And I'm fully on Miami. There's a few other reasons as well. Historically, bet on road underdogs that are a good offensive team that score 24 or more points per game after a win of 3 points or less. Dolphins coming off of a 2-point win. This is a good offense. They score a lot of points, and their defense is all right. They have a +6 point differential so far this season. And historically, you bet on teams in this scenario, and you bet against teams like the Cincinnati Bengals, home favorites after they allowed 5.5 or less passing yards per attempt in the previous game against an opponent who had been gaining 7 or more passing yards per attempt previously. So yeah, they had a good game against the New York Jets. The New York Jets kind of came into that game red hot. But historically, in those two scenarios, you bet on the Dolphins and you bet against the Cincinnati Bengals. In those two scenarios, when you bet against the home favorite, the underdog is 28-4 against the spread over the last 10 seasons. And when you bet on road underdogs, they're 92-46 since 1983, up 41.4 units. And when you bet against home favorites, that's up 23.6 favorites. So those are two betting angles that I typically don't like to look at when it comes to our data, but those are two betting angles that bring you a lot of value and a lot of potential of winning big. If you look here, it's right as I try to zoom in nicely right here, home favorites. And I think there's a lot to be said about that. Now, it is worth noting as well, Tua might be out. Tua is questionable. He was limited in practice yesterday. So that'll be something interesting to watch here tonight, as well as Xavier Howard, the star cornerback for the Miami Dolphins. He's also questionable this week. So two key players that are questionable. I expect both of them to play, but it is something to monitor as we get closer to game time. So far this season, Miami is 3-0 straight up and against the spread. 2 wins outright as an underdog. Their one game on the road was that incredible comeback that I mentioned earlier against the Baltimore Ravens. Cincinnati, on the other hand, 1-2 straight up, 1-2 against the spread. Their one cover was their one win against the New York Jets, where they were 7.5-point favorites, and they went out and they just demolished the Jets. But it's Jets, just end the season. Jets, as always. Interesting, though, that Cincinnati opened at -2.5, and they're now 4. So some money, public, everything like that on the Bengals. And I'm going to fade all that. Give me the Dolphins +4. I've bought in. I'm a Dolph fan, as Dominique Foxworth said on Mina Kimes' show featuring Lenny. I'm a Dolph fan right there with them. I think this Dolphins team is legit. I think Mike McDaniels is a darn good football coach, and he's going to scheme them open. I think Tua against an all-right Bengals secondary will have a solid day, not a great day. That brings us into our player props. I'm on under over 258.5 pass yards for Tua Tagovailoa. I'm going to go under 258 pass yards for a few reasons. I think this Bengals secondary is all right. I think Tua will get his opportunities with Jalen Waddle, with Tyreek, with Mike Gesicki. He has his options, right? But he's coming into this game questionable. He's slightly injured. They might take the ball out of his hands a few times. And he has only eclipsed 258 pass yards 30% of the games he's played in. He's only done it 8 times in his 26 career starts. So that averages out to 30% of the time he has gone over that 258.5 pass yards mark. He's done it once this season when he had his absolutely amazing MVP performance against the Ravens. But I think against this Bengals secondary, that won't be necessarily great, but they're not terrible. And paired that with his injury, I think Tua under 258.5 pass yards is the play. Now, the other one, I think Mike Gesicki is going to score a touchdown today. And I'm not that great with touchdown scores, but sometimes the EV on it is just absolutely phenomenal. And with this one, I believe he's plus 370 to score a touchdown at DRF Sportsbook. You can sign up for free DRF Sportsbook, ia.drf.com, or you can download the DRF Sportsbook app on the Apple App Store or Google Play Store. You can also head on over to Lakeside Hotel and Casino in Osceola if you want to bet in person. For all Iowa residents, that's DRF Sportsbook, and we have them set at plus 370. This year, the Bengals have allowed no touchdowns to tight ends, but they've allowed 222 yards this season to tight ends. I think Gesicki will get targeted in the red zone. I think Gesicki will have his opportunities. Give me Mike Gesicki to score an anytime touchdown at plus 370. And last but certainly not least, Joe Mixon, his over-under for rush yards is set at 65.5 yards. I'm going under that for a few reasons. So I kind of use this rationale on Monday Night Football with the Giants and the Cowboys, and it kind of bit me in the butt. But I think the Bengals will be playing from behind. They're going to force Joe Burrow to throw a lot. So that's going to bring down Joe Mixon carries. I also think that this line isn't good enough to hold up against this Dolphins defensive line. So I don't think Joe Mixon will get a lot of yards per carry. And the capper, each game this season, his workload has decreased. He's coming off of a blowout game where he only saw 12 carries. He averages 19 carries a game this season, but that's inflated off of his opening week 27 carries. Then I believe he had 19 in week 2, and he's coming off of a 12 carry performance against the Jets. He's averaging 2.81 yards per carry. So mathematically speaking, he would need 23 attempts this game to just get to his 65.5 rush yard, just to get to 65.5 yards in general. So he would probably need 24 to break it. So I think Joe Mixon under rush yards is the way to go for a few reasons. And I'm feeling the most comfortable about Joe Mixon under rush yards. So thank you so much for tuning in to DRF Daily. A little bit of a quicker show today as we only broke down one game. But as always, before we get out of here, just a quick best bets recap. You can bet all of these lines, all of these bets, all of these props with DRF Sportsbook if you're in Iowa. That's ia.drf.com, or you can download the DRF Sportsbook app on the Apple App Store or Google Play Store for free. Head on in there, create an account, start betting, do our no fret bet, do our deposit matches, whatever you want to do. A lot of free money is there. Daily boosts, daily specials, weekly specials, amazing promos. The list goes on and on and on. But all of these lines, all of these props you can find on DRF Sportsbook. So we're going Dolphins +4. We're going Tua under 285.5 pass yards. We're going Mike Gesicki to score and Joe Mixon under 65.5. You see, last time out I went 1-3. We're trying to right that ship here tonight. So let's try and do this one. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. See you tomorrow.